All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 Western novels of all time. This has been a very much requested video. Ever since I started this channel some 5 years ago, I'm finally going to do it. Top 10 Westerns of all time. If you followed my channel for any length of time, you know that I love Westerns and I review Westerns quite a bit on this channel. So let's get to it. Top 10 Western novels of all time. Now, a lot of these books that I hold up for you, I will have detailed book reviews of the book on the channel. You can search for those. The way you search for those is just type in my last name, Durfee, into your YouTube search bar, and then type in the name of the book into your YouTube search bar, and through some sort of pagan sorcery, that video review will magically appear upon your television screen. Anyway, let's get to it. So my top 10 Western novels of all time, and I'm going to start with an honorable mention. Now this book, I don't know if I particularly enjoyed it, but it is such an iconic Western that I think everybody should read it at least once, and that is Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. It's bloody, but beautifully written. As you're going to see, there's a lot of other Western novels I like quite a bit more than this one, but I did want to throw this in as an honorable mention before we get to the top 10. And so now let's do the top 10, everybody. Tell me what you think of Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian, though, in the comments. And if I should have ranked higher. But anyway, let's get to the top 10, okay? So starting with my 20th favorite Western novel. And that is, you knew I wasn't going to just do 10. I can't. There's too many Western novels that I love. So my top 10 is actually going to be a top 20. But that would be Larry McMurtry's The Berrybender Narratives. Now, Larry McMurtry, of course, is famous for Lonesome Dove and a lot of other great classic books. But one of the Westerns that he wrote that I really enjoyed was The Berrybender Narratives. Now, this is the omnibus edition of the Berrybender Narratives. When the Berrybender Narratives first came out, they came out in these 4 smaller volumes, starting with Sin Killer, and then The Wandering Hill, and then By Sorrow's River, and Folly and Glory. I mean, a great series of 4 Western novels. You can get the individual copies if you want, or you can get the omnibus where they are all compiled in the omnibus, obviously. Now, this series here, it's kind of like Lonesome Dove, but it's got a bit more humor in it. It's a little bit more. I think it's Larry McMurtry's attempt at dark humor. Anyway, let's move on. Coming in at number 19 in my top 10 Western novels of all time is Robert B. Parker's Gunman's Rhapsody. This is a magnificently written, poetically written retelling of the Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, OK Corral story. It's basically like reading Tombstone, if Tombstone were a book. But Robert B. Parker is one of my favorite novelists, and this is a great, great Western novel. So that's 19, Gunman's Rhapsody. I don't know if you can see it right there. It's a sniper rifle. They're using sniper rifles in the... they got laser pointers. I mean, I don't understand that cover at all. Okay, so number 18. Coming in at number 18, you're going to see that this is... Some of my novel choices are more like trilogies and... Anyway, okay, so this is the Elmer Kelton's Sons of Texas trilogy, coming in at number 18, starting with Sons of Texas. Beautiful cover. And then Book number 2 is The Raiders, another beautiful cover. And then book number 3 is The Rebels. Now, this trilogy is about a couple of young men who become Texas Rangers in the early 1800s, and their adventures that they go through whilst they are Texas Rangers. It's actually very good. And Elmer Kelton is one of the most award-winning Western novelists of all time. We'll throw those on the ground. Coming in at number 17 in my top 10 list is Elmore Leonard, Hombre. I think they made a new movie about Hombre. I haven't watched the movie, but I've read this book, and it is... Now, Elmore Leonard is famous for writing, Get Shorty, or... he's famous because he's Quentin Tarantino's favorite writer, and Quentin Tarantino often models his movies off of Elmore Leonard's books. Yeah, I think Jackie Brown was taken from the book Rum Punch by Elmore Leonard. That was a Tarantino movie. And then Justified, if you ever watched Justified with Timothy Olyphant, based off of Elmore Leonard. But Elmore Leonard also did a lot of Westerns, like 3:10 to Yuma, Hombre, a whole bunch of others that were made into movies. But Hombre is my favorite Elmore Leonard Western. It is absolutely fantastic. It's about a young man that was raised as an Apache and has to do, things in the West. Okay, number 16, True Grit. Everybody knows True Grit by Charles Portis, often mistaken by me as Clinton Portis. I don't know why I always call this guy Clinton Portis, because Clinton Portis was never a Western writer, but he was a great running back in the NFL. So True Grit by Charles Portis. Everybody's seen the movies, the John Wayne movie, the Matt Damon movie, or I don't know if it was a Matt Damon movie. I think he might have been in it. Might be mistaking The Martian for True Grit. Yeah, he was in it with that guy, Jeff Bridges. Yeah, I know, and Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, this is a great classic Western novel, True Grit, told from the perspective of a young girl, and it's just delightful. Number 15 on my list of top 10 Westerns is James Michener's Centennial. This is like a 1,200-page epic novel about a Western town in Colorado, and just the scope of it is huge. It goes through the history of this town, how it formed, how it became it's the rise of this Western town and the downfall of this Western town, with all of the Western things that you love. There's gunfights, there's conflicts with the ranchers and the farmers and the horse stealers and the Native Americans, and all of it comes into play, woven into a big epic I was going to say epic tapestry. Is that right? Yeah, that works. I think those two words go well together. This is an epic Western tapestry of Western tapestretic things. Okay, number 14 is similar to the Michener book. This is California Gold by John Jakes. Now, John Jakes, of course, we'll edit that out. Wrote some epic Civil War novels, and of course his epic Kent Family Chronicles about the Revolutionary War and all that. But anyway, he also did this Western, which is magnificent. It's California Gold. Like James Michener's Centennial, this is kind of about the gold boom in, the state of California, and how the rise and fall of that and everything that went along with that. Gold miners, all the things, the train that was built. That was number 14, right? Number 13. Okay, number 13 is going to be a little different. Well, number 12 and 13 are going to be a little bit different here. So, number 13, I gave to W. Michael Geer's The Bighorn Legacy, and also The Long Ride Home. W. Michael Geer is a very well-known science fiction writer, but he's done a bunch of Westerns. And I was going to be like, well, which one of these should I put in because I love them both about equal. He's, I'll just put them both in. So coming in at number 13 is W. Michael Geer's The Bighorn Legacy and The Long Ride Home. Very dark, gritty, R-rated Western novels, if you like that type of thing. Now, I would also tell you that W. Michael Geer and his wife, Kathleen O'Neill Gear, are also pretty famous for writing the People of the Wolf series of about 50 novels of the ancient Americas. I don't know if these are necessarily Western novels, but they are about the early Native Americans going back all the way to the Ice Age. But there's like 50 novels in the series. So anyway, that's number 13. Got to motor through this, folks. Number 12 is similar to the W. Michael Gear thing, and that's just Utah. These are a handful of my favorite Louis L'Amours, like Utah Blaine, Kid Rodello, over on the dry side. I mean, Louis L'Amour is just one of my favorite authors of all time. And look at those magnificent covers that they did for these books. But we'll pan through the library. I've got every Louis L'Amour novel ever written right there. So I recommend Louis L'Amour. And so I just pulled out for number 13 on the list. I just pulled, or 12, or whatever this is. I just pulled out 3 of my favorites. Put those on the floor with the rest of the garbage. Dead Man's Walk comes in at number 11. This is the first book in the Lonesome Dove book series of 4 novels by Larry McMurtry. Larry McMurtry is in my top 2 novelists of all time. And Dead Man's Walk, about Gus McCrae, Woodrow Call, and the gang of Texas Rangers. This is their early adventures. Dead Man's Walk. Book number 10. Okay, now we're actually to the top 10. And we're not even halfway through. I mean, Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. I know this might not even belong in this list of Western novels, but it is a novel about the West with vampires. So we'll give that. I mean, you know, I was thinking of actually putting Stephen King's Gunslinger in here, but because this has a supernatural bit, and then the Gunslinger has a supernatural bit. But I decided to go. I decided to keep the Stephen King stuff out of this one. But anyway, I like Buffalo Hunter. It's a great book. Super well written. Something I just recently read, and I loved it a lot. It's about the West, the Old West. It kind of reminds me of Blood Meridian, if Blood Meridian had vampires in it. Coming in at number 9 is Sue Dawn by Terry C. Johnston. This is book number 1 in his Plainsman series. Now, there are a lot, like Louis L'Amour books, there's a lot of books in the Plainsman series. In fact, Terry C. Johnstone, I'll show you my Terry C. Johnstone collection. All of them are right there. There's about 30 to 40 books. And there's the Plainsman series, and there's his Mountain Man series. But anyway, this is Terry C. Johnstone is just I consider him the Bernard Cornwell of Western writers. So if you like Bernard Cornwell's, you know, The Last Kingdom, or if you like his King Arthur books, you'll love the way that Terry C. Johnstone writes. It's very similar, but set in the Old West. Number 8, we go back to Larry McMurtry, of course. Streets of Laredo. Again, this is book number 4 in his Lonesome Dove series, the series about Woodrow Call and Gus McCrae and adventurers in the Old West. Beautifully written, literary fiction. It's just nothing else compares to Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove series. And we may or may not see some more Larry McMurtry books in this. Okay, so number 7, we have to go back to Louis L'Amour. I mean, I've just got his entire Sackett saga right here. There's 19 books, I believe, or maybe there might be 15 books. So the Sackett saga by Louis L'Amour has a lot of books in it, and I'm recommending the entire series. It's basically about a family in the Old West, kind of like the Cartwrights from Bonanza, and it takes us at the book number 1 up here, all the way to the bottom book here, takes us through their ups and downs and their well, you know what it is. This is a big family saga. So that's number 7. Number 6 is Larry McMurtry's Comanche Moon. This is book number 2 in the Lonesome Dove series. And oh my gosh, is this series just beautiful or what? I mean, if you don't know about Lonesome Dove, you need to introduce yourself to Lonesome Dove and the 4 books in the Lonesome Dove series. Comanche Moon is number 6 on my greatest Western novels of all time. Book number 5, we're going back to Louis L'Amour. I mean, this specific book, Hondo, by Louis L'Amour, is standalone, above and beyond the other Louis L'Amour books. Well, there might be, except for maybe one, there might be another Louis L'Amour here coming up. So number 5 is Hondo. Maybe you saw the movie with John Wayne. Just a great, great story of a noble and brave cowboy that defends the honor and the land of a widowed woman who needs help from the cattle rustlers that are. And then there's Larry McMurtry, another Larry McMurtry, number 4, Anything for Billy. Oh my gosh. So, after I read Lonesome Dove, because I read Lonesome Dove back in the late 80s, originally when it came out. And then there was no other really, that was the only, Lonesome Dove at the time was the only novel McMurtry had wrote that was about the Old West. And the next novel he wrote about the Old West was Anything for Billy. So at the time, back in when I was younger, there were only 2 Larry McMurtry Westerns, Lonesome Dove and Anything for Billy. And I think I read this about 12 times. It's so good. It's about Billy the Kid. It's Larry McMurtry's retelling of the Billy the Kid story. So if you like the movie Young Guns or anything like that, this is your jam. This is one of the most entertaining Westerns I've ever read. I love the characters. It's got a wild sense of humor. And it's just fantastic. And it's about a gunslinger, a troubled young man who's a gunslinger. And it's exciting and heartbreaking and all of that kind of thing. Book number 3. Is that 4? Yeah, that was 4. My third favorite, I feel like I skipped 5, but I probably didn't. My third favorite Western novel of all time is actually the very first ever Western novel I ever read in my life. And it holds a special place in my heart. And it is still it is actually the best Louis L'Amour novel ever written. Again, I'm going back to the fact that it's a nostalgia pick a little bit because it was the first Western novel that I read. And I was very young when I read this, maybe 12 or 13. But that is The Californios by Louis L'Amour. I got 2 different covers, 2 different versions. The Californios. This is the old version that I bought back in the 80s, and that with the cover, and I still have it, and it's a great cover. But then they re-released it. They re-released it with this other cover, which I think is equally spectacular. I think these are equally spectacular covers. But that's number 3. The Californios by Louis L'Amour. Number 1. No, 2. We got to get to number 2 first. The fuck? Come on, Durfee, get your shit together. Number 2, greatest Western of all time is, and this is just an absolute work of art. This book has the best Clint Eastwood-like man with no name, gunslinger, dark, dangerous, mysterious hero of any Western of all. And the thing is this one was written in about 1918. Maybe even earlier than that. Let me see. It doesn't say. It was written a hella long time ago. But that is Zane Grey's Riders of the Purple Sage. Comes in at number 2 as the second greatest Western novel ever written. And it's set in Utah. And the Mormons, of which I am one and was one or whatever. Anyway, Mormon mission, that was me. BYU, I graduated that. I mean, I used to be the Mormons are the bad guys in this. I don't think I even need to tell you which is my number 1, but the number 1 is the Pulitzer Prize winning Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Not only is this the greatest Western novel ever written, but it is also in my top 2 greatest novels of all time. If not my favorite novel of all time. Sometimes this is my favorite novel of all time. The Stand by Stephen King oftentimes ranks as my favorite novel of all time. But sometimes it flip-flops with Lonesome Dove. Sometimes just depending on the mood or the time of the day or what state I'm in or, whether I'm awake or asleep. This one's number one or The Stand is number one. It's just, it's a little bit loosey-goosey. I mean, none of these rules. This ranking is not really like an official, like, set in stone. I mean, it can be fluid. You know what I mean? But the fluid part is that this is number one always. I don't know. I mean, if you don't know about Lonesome Dove or anything, I mean, then you just need to, educate yourself, as they say on the internet. Educate yourself about this Lonesome Dove. That's it. I mean, that's my top 10 Western novels of all time. And I think it's a pretty awesome top 10.